I'm putting together a little slideshow of building a wall, literally building a wall, turning one big room into two rooms, basically adding on another bedroom, making a bedroom out of a huge long dining room. I built it. Well, it actually, the city inspectors looked at it and said it was up to code. So they said it was beyond code. So, and I did it with me and my little helper, my son. He's 18 now, but this was back when he was like, oh geez, I don't know, 7, 8. And we did it all with your basic hand tools. It was done with a Harbor Freight drill, although it didn't last. The wall was all built before it died. It died right after the wall. Harbor Freight drills, don't buy them. But it was done with a Harbor Freight drill, Home Depot Husky handsaw. Everything was cut by hand. You know, so, and a hammer, just a regular old claw hammer. And this is how you can build a wall. I'm going to attempt to do something here I've never tried. I'm doing this little portion of the video now, and I'm going to remove my video of me as I go through the slides. I want to talk about the slides as I pull them up on here, and we're going to go through the slides. Now, because there's a few things I want to explain in here as I went, why I did what, and everything else. But it was hard getting perfectly straight 2x4s from Home Depot. I got one in there that's got a bow in it. But, hey, it worked, right? Okay, I was going to put braces in the middle and everything else, but I decided against it. I figured that'd be overkill. Didn't need it for a wall that size. Because I put the wall in and then a door. I hung a door and made a door. Matter of fact, I found the door in a dumpster. Solid wood door. Okay, I mean, it's not hollow. It is solid. The thing takes 2 men and a boy to lift, I'm telling you. But we got it. I got it out of a dumpster. Alright, the materials I bought new. As a matter of fact, this office you see here, this office is some of those leftovers from this wall. I took that wall down when I left. I put it all together with screws. Took it down when I left. You couldn't even tell there was a wall up there when I left. And then I brought all the stuff over to this place and started to build this office. Actually, everything, all the lumber in this office was from that wall, actually. So, I've had to add some extra pieces, but of scrap. This whole thing is built out of scrap too. But let's just go ahead and get into this little slideshow presentation of how to build a wall with basic hand tools. Alright, so let's go to slide 1. Now what you're looking at here in slide 1, this was an apartment we lived in. Matter of fact, the apartment complex wanted us to keep the wall because they could have rented out as a 3-bedroom instead of a 2. And I told them, you give me compensation, you know, and I'll leave it. And they said, sure. So they brought in the building inspectors. They brought the code, the check to see if it was up to code. They said, yeah, it's up to code, beyond code, whatever the hell that meant. I don't know, but they said it was beyond code. So they said, okay, yeah. And then when I went to move out, when they came in to do the inspection, they said, what? Because I went down there and asked them, so what kind of compensation am I going to get for that wall to make that 3rd bedroom? Oh, our corporate says we can't do anything like that. I said, okay, no problem. So when they came up to inspect the apartment when we moved out, I said, what happened to the wall? I said, what happened to my compensation? Have a nice day. But anyway, you couldn't even tell there was a wall in there. But that's the room. The tile is the dining room. The carpeting is the other section. It looks like it's supposed to be another room. Well, we turned that into a 3rd bedroom for the girls. And over on the right there with that little fireplace, which never worked. They didn't have the gas connected to it. It was a gas fireplace. And that was the living room. Tile was the dining room, and the other carpet was the other room. That's a little wet bar there, so the girls had a wet bar in. And if you see the light shining from the right-hand side in that room on the carpet, that was another sliding glass door that went out into the patio. Now, if you look to the right of the fireplace, you'll see that where that lighting is, where there's another sliding glass door. They both go out to the same patio. All right, so that's what you're looking at. That is before anything was done. So now let's move over to slide 2. Now there's slide 2. What I'm doing here is I measured out the lumber to cut it to go from the floor to the ceiling on the one on the right. And I also measured, you can see my tape measures and stuff. how wide the door was, the width of the 2x4s I was going to need for the framing around the door, so I could fit the door in there on the frame. So that's what I did there. That's why the bottom one does not go all the way across, because that's where I was going to put the door framing. I was going to build and put the door up there. Now I did not use any plans. I did not draw this out. I measured and cut as I went. Okay, so basically all this was made up as I went, off the top of my head. So that's the far upright that gets screwed into the wall, and then the bottom piece that goes across. Now I did not screw this thing into the floor or into the ceiling, and it still passed the code. I had it wedged. I made it just a little oversized so I could wedge it up in there. Okay, and it was just wedged in there. You can kick it, you can bang into it, it wasn't going anywhere. Okay, because it was screwed into the wall. Alright, and then the framing to the door frame was screwed into the full frame when I was finished, and the frame for the door frame was screwed into the wall. So the only places it was anchored in was the wall on the left and the wall on the right. But that's the beginning of it. That's where I was just saying, okay, I'll do this, see how this works. And we're going to go on to slide number 3. Now there's slide number 3. I cut the other pieces to match, and then I put them up against each other on the floor there, lined them all up, okay, and I screwed them in from the bottom into the 2x4s. I ran screws in from the bottom piece up into the upright pieces, 2 screws on each side, and then from the top down and bottom up, 2 screws went in, just to hold that together. And then I put angle brackets in there. Now that's just it, the basic laid out on the floor. Now let's move over to slide number 4. Now there's slide number 4. I wedged it up in there. And you see the angle brackets in there? So you got angle brackets on each corner. And if you look at the top piece going across that's up against the wall, up against the roof I should say, between the roof and the 2x4, there are 2 screws that go, that one there has the 2 screws going in from the side into the 2x4. Okay, and on the bottom, you see how it goes on top of the 2x4. Well, on the bottom of the 2x4, there's 2 screws going up into the upright 2x4s. And as you can see, there's a little, off to the right there is a roll of insulation, waiting and ready. So that's the basic squaring of the frame. Now I had to do it that way because the entire apartment was not square. It was on an angle. It was an old apartment. So I had to get those angled in there right. Okay, it was crooked, cockeyed, cattywampus cockeyed. But that's the basic of the frame. Okay, it fits. Now it's time for me to pull it down, back down, and start putting the rest of it together. So let's go to slide 5. And there you can see how I put the 2x4s in. I put an angle bracket on each side, and I put 2 screws up from the bottom into the 2x4 frames, the studs. So there's actually 4 screws holding that stud in that one spot. 2 underneath the horizontal frame, and then that go into the stud from the bottom end, and then the angle brackets. Each one of them has that many screws in them. Alright, now we're going to go to slide number 6. And there you go, I'm getting ready to go do the other side, put the angle brackets on, measuring it all out, making sure they're all 16" on centers. And when I first put that framing on the floor, when you saw it laying on the floor, just a square, I did square it. I went angle corner to corner and corner to corner and square it, and it wouldn't fit up. That's how I knew, well, squaring it wasn't going to work. I had to go with the way the building was. So that's why I was working that and angling that right there, so I can get those, the studs the right height to get in there. So that's getting ready to put the angle brackets on. Now we're going to move to slide number 7. And there we go. You see how I got the 2 screws? If you look at the bottom 2x4 looking up, you see how you got 2 screws going up into each stud underneath? And it has the angle bracket on it. So that's how I did each one of those studs. And you can see the one on the right is pretty bowed. The one between the end one and from the right. You got the second one over from the right. That's got a bow in it. But hey, it did the job. Alright, so you can see they're all 16-inch on center, all measured out. And that is the framing made on the floor. Now let's move on over to slide number 7. There we go, up she goes, wedged in, nice and neat. I did have to use the hammer to get it up in there, and the hammer to knock it over against the wall. You can still see there's a little gap there on the right on the bottom, but look at the top. It is butted right up against it. You see that? It was not angled. I mean, it was not square. But I did get it to work, as you will see. As you will see. That's slide number 8 with the frame up. Now let's go to slide number 9. And that's another angle of it. You can see the angle brackets, angle braces in the corners of each stud onto the bottom base and the top framing. And you can see the area for the door to go in, left open. Moving on over to slide number 10. There we go, it's just another picture of it. The lighting, not so good. But you can see the tools I use. Dead blow hammer, a level. There's that screw gun, or that Harbor Freight screw gun laying there next to the framing. Hand saw over there on the right. There's the framing. You can see, look at the top against the wall. The wall piece that sticks out where the roll of insulation is. Look at the top of that wall and that frame. Butted right up. Follow it down and look at the gap. It was not squared. That apartment was not squared. Alright, that's slide number 10. Let's go to slide number 11. And there's my little helper. All ready to get to work. Ooh yeah. Rocking and rolling with the hard hat. No, it's plastic hard hat, little kid's hard hat. He was happy to help. Slide number 12 coming up. And there he is, getting ready to get to work. You see the sliding glass door now over there to the right. It's nighttime. It took me a while to get all this stuff because I was hand cutting everything. Okay. Let's move over to slide number 13. Now we're starting to put the drywall up. Now you're wondering, why do I have it in 4x4 drywall pieces? Well, that was an apartment that you had a parking garage. And you had to come in park in the parking garage underneath. You had to come up the elevator or up the stairwell to get up to the floor that was on. That was on the second floor. And I could not bring the drywall up. It did not fit in the elevator in 4x8 sheets. And did not fit up the skinny stairwell. Couldn't make it around any corners or anything. The way it was designed with 4x8 sheets. So I had measured them all out and cut them all in half, 4x4s, in order to get them into the apartment. So I put them together in 4x4 pieces. So there's the first 4x4 going up. Let's go to slide 14. And that's the inside of it, sitting in there. You can see the 2x4s off to the right. See how some of them are really bowed? That's why I didn't use some of those. I used the best ones I could for this. But yep, that's in there like that. It's your inside the room looking out. We'll move on to slide number 15. And there's a second piece going on there. Nice and neat. That's from the inside looking out again, of course. Slide number 16. There we go, the outside looking in. There's one piece is up. And then we're going to go to slide 17. That's another view of it. And you can see the drywall 4x4s over there on the right side leaning up against the fireplace. Slide number 18. Getting the other side going. The other 4x4 up. Slide number 19. The other view of it right there. That's the outside view. You see the gap on the bottom there on the right? Wait till I'm done. You watch what I came up with. Alright. Now there was no cable in there or no cable outlet in there, so wait till you see what I did for that. So they got TV in there. Alright, let's go to slide number 20. There's another look of it right there. Outside looking in. Slide 21. There it is, the other piece is up. One side of the wall is completed. Slide 22. The other view of it, see the gap in there? There we go. Slide number 23. Another angle of it. You can see where the door is going to go. Let's move to slide 24. Let's get that insulation in. You see that one on the left that's bowed? That's that one that was bowed. But we got the insulation in. Let's go to slide number 25. See that bottom left hand corner? Why does insulation does not go all the way down? That's because I drilled a hole in the drywall, put a grommet in so that I can go ahead and run cables and electrical cords through it and stuff like that. Alright, that's slide 25. Let's go to slide 26. There is the hole with the grommet. Okay. Yeah, that cable outlet right there you see was no good. Did not operate. Alright. Slide number 27. Starting to get the inside wall get put up. There she is. She's going up. Let's go to slide 28. The bottom getting done there. That's nice. That's good. Slide number 29 coming up. There we go. The inside looking out. All four pieces of the 4x8 drywalls are put up. On the inside. Let's go to slide 30. Got it taped and spackled. On the inside. Slide 31. There's another view. Taped and spackled. Slide 32. There's the outside, taped and spackled. You see the grommet down in the bottom right. Slide 33. Boom. Painted, and I put the 2x4s around the outer edge like that to give it that framing look. Loved the way that looked. And I got the door frame hung and the door hung with the deadbolt and a hand lock on it. And yes, it worked. The locks worked. I got it all lined up, and I drilled to cut the holes directly in the 2x4 of the framing, so that the lock would fit right in there. So it was solid, and that's what the wall looks like. Completed, done, painted. Okay. Let's move on to slide 34. Another view of it. There she is. See the gap on the bottom of the door there? That's because the partner was Callywampas cockeyed. Alright. Get a good look at that. Let me just check something else out here. Oh, we don't want that. Hold on a second. We want that there. And we got one more picture. Slide 36. Coming up now. 35. We got two, so one more after this. That's the other angle of it right there. There's the wall, and 36 should be the last slide. There you go. Completed, done. 2 coats of paint. All done by hand. Look, your basic hand tools. No power saws, nothing. I didn't even use a drill to drill anything. I screwed the screws directly into the wood, which went through a lot of battery power. That's how you build a wall with just basic hand tools. Okay, and for off the top of your head, no plans were made for that wall. None. Now I was going to put molding around the top edges and stuff like that, but I decided against it. I figured, why not? Why am I going to do that? It's not going to be permanent anyway. So, and it's not permanent, but you could be wrestling around and slam someone against that, and it wasn't budging. I can tell you that right now, because it happened quite a few times with the kids playing. So there you go. That's building a wall. I hope you enjoyed our little slide presentation. From that to that. Just a little thing to show you can build stuff. You don't need plans. You just see it in your mind and make it happen. That's all you got to do. All right. Well, look forward to seeing you all on the next video.